But what these people oftentimes think is that they're experts in the field, that they really understand art because they've seen a lot of artwork go across their table. Okay, so they're also the only issue with that is it's a little bit slanted because they're only familiar with the artwork from the artist that they hire. So that's biased, all right? It doesn't mean that they're knowledgeable about all art. It's going to be a little bit biased because that person obviously hired the artists that work for them. So that's what kind of caters to their needs, all right? So the reason I'm saying this is because let's say the person's looking through your portfolio and they have a number of pieces out, and you don't often get a glowing response. I've been in situations where people have looked at my artwork and they didn't seem impressed at all. On the inside, I got some butterflies going on. I'm like, geez, I really thought, we get this idea of how our artwork's going to affect somebody and we expect to see this reaction. Some of these people across the table, they're what I like to call stone cowboys. They give you nothing. It's also a bit of a tactic, because when you get to something later, like when they want to talk about price, they want to talk about what your real value is, if they were too glowing of a response or they seem too floored, the fear is that the person across the table believes that you're going to be more confident in bargaining with them, because they will have basically tipped their hand and shown you, how much they really need you. And for whatever reason, people feel they can't be honest about that, because a whole nother ball of wax, which we'll get into in a later chapter entitled Negotiating, and everything that comes with that. But never apologizing for your artwork means you never want to say this. If someone goes, "Do you have anything else?" Never, ever say, "You know what? I have some other stuff at my house that I thought maybe I should have put in here, but I didn't. I'm really sorry about that. I hope that what I've shown you today is good enough." More often than not, and you would not want this response at all, they may close the portfolio and go, "Well, I wish you would have brought that. Why don't you give us a call back when you've got something more to show?" Don't say that. It's apologizing, or that question, if it comes at you in that way, it's more of being baited. Sometimes the other person wants to test your psychology. They want to test how strong your mind is, how confident you are in your abilities. Why? Because if they wanted to hire you on the spot to do a job and you seem a little hesitant and you don't seem very confident in what you've shown, then how confident can they be about you getting the job done that they're about to give you? So do you see how this all works? These people that are looking at your artwork, that do the interview, are very seasoned, okay? And I don't want to go so far as to say that they're sharks or they're looking to hurt you, but it can feel like that when you're new. Why? Because you have all this excitement. You want to work. You're excited. You're like, "Oh man, this is my shot. I hope I get this." And you could feel very deflated if you were to find yourself in that situation, and you were to cut yourself on the sharpness of their teeth, so to speak. Forget all that. It's never that serious. I also want you to remember this when you're showing your portfolio. You can always come back. You can always improve. These people aren't going to dislike you. They're not going to throw your number out and say, "Oh, I never want to see that person again." That would only happen if you just had a bad attitude or you did something really, just negative at the interview, which you're not going to do that. You're happy. You're there to just show your work. Again, what I'm getting at is go back to why you did artwork in the first place. Because it's fun. Because you love to do it. So it's never that serious. You just compose yourself. You take the situation as it goes. You never apologize for your work. You show it. You're confident. And basically you zip it. You zip it. You know what the correct answer is? When the person says, "Do you have anything else to show me?" The correct answer is, "No, that's what I've got. I believe that would be enough for you." And then say nothing and wait for them to respond. If they want to see something else, let them ask you. In other words, let the person across the table talk to you. Do not put words in their mouth. Don't backpedal, nothing. Just say, "Yeah, that's what I've got for you today. What do you think?" Or say nothing. "That's what I've got for you today." And then just zip it and wait. What else can I say about portfolios? And I think I sort of touched upon this, but this might be a question that comes up. If anyone has the question, "Well, how many portfolios should I have?" Or Vince, how many do you have? if I wasn't as direct, I know I sort of just implied it earlier. Have a portfolio for every type of skill set that you can do. If you think that anything you're going to go and show, like in other words, if someone's going to come to me for airbrushing and they can draw well and they put a few of their drawings in there to show me their illustration power, that's good, because in airbrushing, it will definitely help if I know the person can draw, because it'll say to me, wow, they have some traditional experience, and it will definitely add value, and it will add more to their repertoire. So I want you to think about anything that would add, you know, fundamentals to what you're doing, but make sure that it adds to. It isn't, you know, you're going for graphic design and you brought a portfolio full of oil paintings. I don't know how that will add up. That kind of situation, they'd probably want to see your digital skills, you know, on Illustrator, Photoshop, you know, things like that have to do with computer software, logos that you've designed, anything that you can show that way. They don't care how good your, you know, watercolor skills or your origami is. That's not gonna add up. But if you've got some pieces where you have little sketches where you show your thought process to put logos together and stuff like that, bring it with you. You can always have that with you. All right, so think about your different skill sets. If you're a great oil painter, make a portfolio of oil paintings. If you're a good watercolor, then you have that skill, make a watercolor portfolio, digital portfolio. Separate all the artwork into their media, and then think about how some of the media can cross-help each other. And that's what I would put in when you go to a particular you know, interview or a meeting to show off your work. Okay, so say you have a dynamite interview. You have a dynamite portfolio interview, person loves what you did, they shake your hand, they go, we're definitely gonna call you, whole 9 yards, and you leave feeling like, oh yeah, I nailed this, so awesome. Let me go get a chocolate chip milkshake and you know, guzzle it, and then just do a marathon of like your favorite television show all night, because you're like, it doesn't matter, I'm at the top of the world, I just got my first job, and then you don't hear from them. And you're like, what happened? I thought they were gonna hire me. Where's the email? What's going on? And you're feeling deflated. Don't worry about that. Situations like that oftentimes have little or nothing to do with you. Give you an example. Sometimes they chose a person the day before you walked in. That person already came in and got the job, but they wanted to see you anyway to have a backup plan in case their new hire didn't come through. Sometimes you're fresh out of college, your portfolio was awesome. But you don't have, you don't have professional experience. And what happened was a professional from another company came in, maybe right after your interview or whatever, and they went with the person that already has, you know, 10 years experience in the field. Even if your work was better. Why, you might ask? Like, why would they do that? Because when a professional goes in to do a job, they're bringing a little bit more to the table that they can say, unfortunately. But you'll have that to your advantage as you get more work. And the things that a professional brings to the table is that most companies, okay, when they've checked the professional's references and they've talked to them in the interview, and their portfolio is going to show, well, I did this job professionally, I did this for XYZ company, and then I did this that went on a billboard, and I did this for this TV show, and I did this for this whatever. Versus, well, you know, I did this as a homework assignment in college. So the portfolio of the professional has already shown that the person can meet a deadline, they can finish work, and they've generated money for the company that hired them. That speaks a lot. That weighs a lot to the side of the professional getting a job over an amateur who's wants to be professional, is going to their first couple of interviews. So that's, just take it off the table. And sometimes they just hired a friend, someone who runs the company. Their brother knows how to draw. Finally, they're like, we want to get a job. They call up, you know, Uncle Skip, and Skip's like, yeah, send him in. And the next thing you know, he's got the job. It should have been you, but it wasn't. So all I'm getting at is, never let that deflate you. If you had anything positive in the portfolio meeting, if you saw even a little bit of a smile, a little bit of a sparkle in the person's eye across the table, a firm handshake, something like, wow, this is a really good piece, anything like that, you're already more than halfway to becoming a pro. And that, just getting to the meeting, just doing all the steps you've taken up to that point and being in the same room where you're ready to get hired, slow clap. You should already be patting yourself on the back, because that is about 99% more than most people do, who just live up here and they think about the day when they'll become a professional, but they haven't put in all the hard work that you've put in. That we have been on this journey already for 4 chapters, and you're here with me. So that's what I want to say about that. I'd like to conclude this chapter, and I want you guys at home to get busy on picking out your work that you're going to put into your portfolio and contacting the artists and looking at what the companies will want to see. Take care, and we'll see you in the next chapter.